Brian Lehrer on WNYC, live in the green space today. And listeners, when we are live in the green space, you can watch the Brian Lehrer Show as well as listen as we stream live video at WNYC.org or on the WNYC Facebook page. With us now in the green space, New Yorker magazine humorist Andy Borowitz, creator of the Borowitz Report. Now, the Borowitz Report has been covering stories recently like about the first controversy surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new baby, and, well, we'll take it from there. Hi, Andy.
How are you doing?
Good, but I understand, and this is serious, folks. This is
Serious.
not satire. This is real. You came in and you said, well, you could actually fill us in on that executive privilege story that I was getting in my ear just before the break. So what do you know?
Yes. Well, you see, this is the problem with my job because I'm always trying to come up with fake news. And so I'll come up with something absurd that Trump might do. And then 10 minutes later, he will actually do that thing. So my news, it's no longer really fake. It's just early. That's kind of the problem. But I just want to make a departure from my usual role when I come on your show, Brian, as you know, is to spout absolute nonsense. I come in and I just tell a bunch of fake headlines and misinform everybody. But I couldn't help, because you've been hard at work at the green space for the last 40 minutes or so. You've been kind of in a bubble, not a liberal bubble, which you're always in, but in sort of a news-free bubble. And you haven't heard the big news that, in fact, Trump is, for the first time in his, this is real news, folks. This is not a joke. He, for the first time in his presidency, and God, I hate using that word, but in his presidency, he is asserting executive privilege to keep the unredacted Muller Report from being released. That is, you can actually Google that when you leave the green space.
And I have a quote here now. I just looked it up on
Isn't this cool? We're doing real news.
The New York Times
So
website.
cool.
This could be CNN.
Yeah, it could be.
This could be.
It could be, absolutely. Except no, we'd have to have the font saying, waiting for news about Mueller Report underneath us, because that makes it really exciting.
I think they used that same font for about a year and a half.
Maybe they did.
A Justice Department official, Stephen Boyd, wrote Wednesday morning, quote, this is to Congress, this is to advise you that the president has asserted executive privilege over the entirety of the subpoenaed materials, unquote, and that particularly, as the Times puts it, was to shield hidden portions of Mueller's unredacted report and the evidence he collected from Congress. Okay.
Now,
So
a couple things are weird about that.
Yes.
Okay. First weird thing is, from my understanding of William Barr's summary of the Mueller Report, this is a report that fully exonerated Trump, okay? I mean, if you go on Amazon and you Google the Billy Joel song, An Innocent Man, it says you may also like the Mueller Report. That's how innocent. I mean, it is like, it's basically like, I don't know, it's you have had the most, it's like saying, I want to keep people from finding out I won an Oscar. Like, it's an incredible honor. Basically the Mueller Report was a love letter to his innocence and his non-collusion and his non-obstruction, and we're not going to get to read that now. It seems uncharacteristically modest of Trump, if I might add. Usually is the kind of thing he wants to put out there, but I think he just doesn't want us to feel envious of just how innocent he is. I think that's the only conclusion I can draw.
I did read on the Borowitz Report that the Trump administration was getting some outside help from Moscow redacting the Mueller Report. Can you tell us who was?
Well, yeah, that was Putin in the weeks ahead, leading up to it. He surrounded himself with a bunch of his cronies, and they were going through with a Sharpie, I think it's called a Sharpovskaya or something like that. And they were going through it and just trying to make sure there was something like, I think, between 7,000 and 8,000 references to Russians in the report, and they want to make sure those are all gone. So they did work on it. It's sort of sad to me, Brian, to see how this story has ended, because I was looking forward to this.
How did Putin feel about having to take on yet another political project on behalf of Donald Trump?
Well, he's had it up to here. I mean, he really has. His basic attitude is, do I have to do everything for these people? And that's, it's justifiable. He's got a country to run too, And also, he's got to start worrying about 2020, It's not like he can just sit around. He's got a lot to do.
Although he couldn't be too unhappy about his role supporting Trump, because I see on the Borowitz Report that the Kremlin has named its employee of the month.
Yes, Donald Trump. He has done it for his service to the fatherland. I've repurposed that story many different months, in fact. What's always hard about this, Brian, is that you're always so much more familiar with what's on the Borowitz Report than I am. So it's a little bit like it's a strange kind of SAT quiz for me.
And listeners, we can take phone calls for Andy Borowitz.
They will be redacted, however, just in keeping with our new system of justice.
After the fact for the podcast version of the Brian Lehrer Show. 212-433-WNYC. And audience here in the green space, if you have any question to ask what do you call yourself? Is it editor-in-chief? Is it, what are you, of the Borowitz Report?
Of the Borowitz Report? I am just the Borowitz, I guess is my title. I mean, people are always saying, like, people hate something I do. They say, you better get some new writers. And I'm like, I wish, it's like, this is it, man. It's all I got.
All right, your questions for the Borowitz, of the Borowitz Report, you can raise your hands here in the green space, or 212-433-WNYC, 433-9692. I did see that on the Borowitz Report, Attorney General William Barr has had time, despite all the redaction work, to read not just the Muller Report, but also some classic literature.
He did. He read Moby Dick. He had waited for years. I know, I got it right. He had waited years to read Moby Dick, and then he finally read it in about, I think, 8 minutes or so. And it was interesting, his take on Moby Dick. He said he found no evidence of whales, which was interesting. I guess, it shows that sometimes you can't believe the hype, right?
Maybe Putin redacted all the whale scenes in Moby Dick. Did that occur to you?
Now my head is exploding as you cross-post two of my stories.
Did I see a hand up over here?
Yeah, there was a hand up.
Let's
change the subject away from this
microphone. You have the
test.
microphone. Go ahead.
Mr. Borowitz, we need your help, the Democrats, as the list of candidates who've declared approaches 24. I find it kind of hard to keep them straight. Do you have a classification system that you use to group them into more easily remembered categories?
Well, it's interesting. There are a lot of candidates, Democratic candidates, and that's another thing that happened while you were on the air, which is Boys to Men have just announced that they're running. It's incredible. Wilson Phillips is going to run now. It's like a whole bunch of people got into it. So it is hard to sort of sort them out. I actually keep them in sort of one category, which is any of them are better than Trump. So I actually don't. I'm actually not playing favorites. There's Will Rogers, who is probably the greatest American political satirist, had a good line one time. Somebody asked him what his political affiliation was, and he said, "I'm not a member of any organized political party. I'm a Democrat." And
not
sadly, prescient. It's one of those timeless remarks that you wish weren't so timeless. But I always, in all seriousness, I like to quote somebody who I think was a great politician and terrible president, Ronald Reagan, because when he was running, he had a really good sort of rule that he laid down. He said the 11th commandment should be, "Thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican." And I think the Democrats should just steal that because it's a really good idea. I think we are in a state of emergency and we do not have the luxury to beat each other up. That's my take on that. Sorry for that little. Are you gonna have to give Steve Bannon equal time now, Brian?
Yes.
Because I made a little political pitch there.
Mr. Bannon, call in, and
okay.
we will
Absolutely.
give
We'd
you
love
equal
to hear from
time.
him.
We did have Lynn Patton on yesterday. So it's
okay. All right.
So what is this controversy I see on the Borowitz Report about this new royal baby?
Well, it was sort of a tempest in a teapot. I don't think it has a lot of traction. But just on Monday morning, Donald Trump was very upset that another baby was getting all the attention. It was just, some of you with kids know how it is. The new baby comes home and the old baby is a little bit put out, because Trump, by his own description, he is used to being the youngest person. He's young, he's vibrant. And then to see another kid come into the picture who's even younger and perhaps more vibrant, it's got to be upsetting. So he didn't take it well. Do
you think it explains anything about tariffs on China or anything else?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that he did try to do those tariffs and all that as a way to take attention away from the royal baby. But it was a desperate situation. I think we can forgive him that. I think most child care experts would say it's just a phase. He'll eventually come to love the baby, I think. When the baby can start talking, I think.
We have another question here in the green space. Hello, in the back.
So this is a question you can answer in a funny way or in a serious way. But how would you advise humorists in the United Kingdom to find anything funny about the situation at the moment?
In the United Kingdom?
In the United Kingdom, regarding Brexit.
Regarding Brexit. Well, that's funny because I actually, it's all a question of perspective, which is that to you, in the United Kingdom, Brexit is not funny at all. It's like this scimitar hanging over your heads. To me, living with what I'm living in this country, it's really comic relief. I just turn on the BBC and it's like, oh, finally, for a moment, I can think we're not the biggest dumbasses in the world. There is actually somebody. Could I say that, Brian, on NPR?
You just did.
I guess I did. But no, really, I mean, it's just nice to know. It's very reassuring to see that there's another country, perhaps even more dysfunctional than we are. I mean, it's like we're not, although there are similar things I'd say, like it's not like we're pulling out of the northern hemisphere or but in a sense we are, aren't we? So, but I feel. How are you taking the whole Brexit thing? Are you? How do you feel about the backstop? I love when they talk about the backstop. Does anyone in this room even know what the backstop is? That's how little we care about what you're going through. They don't even know what the backstop is.
The Irish backstop, right?
Yeah, the Irish. No, you know because you're a news person. You see the feed and you read about the backstop. I urge everybody in here to read up about the backstop. It is hilarious. No, it's just you basically, somebody made a really good comment. I don't know who, but it was a really good quote. And it's the problem of referenda in general. You had a referendum. That's why we should not have referenda in this country when it can be avoided at any level, which is that the whole idea of representative government is you're supposed to have representatives who read up on this stuff and then they make decisions. We're not supposed to all vote and then say, oh, let's do this or let's do that. And somebody compared Brexit to basically voting on whether or not you should build a ship out of butter. And it's like, yeah, we can all agree to that, but then how are we going to make that ship actually work as a ship? So that's kind of the problem. I don't remember who said that, but I like the analogy. So anyway, are you thinking of perhaps another country to live in now? Is that a possibility?
Well, I'm actually a U.S. citizen.
You are really messed up then. Well, nowhere to go.
Well,
You're a U.S. citizen. So you live here in New York?
Yes, the day after I became a U.S. citizen, they decided to try and repeal the Voting Rights Act, so I timed it perfectly.
I see.
What I find interesting about Britain is that nobody in any political class or even in the country has any idea what is either going on or is going to happen next. And what's even more extraordinary is that that's taken place after numerous votes, many years of activity, that all these scenarios that could have existed before still exist now. So it's a perpetual state of action without any consequence. So I don't know how you make something funny out of that.
Are you the guy who did the Planet Earth documentaries? You sound very familiar to me. Is that another guy? No, he should be working at WNYC. What a voice. That's amazing. That's amazing. I just didn't hear a thing you said. I was just saying I said that just sounds smart. Whatever he said sounded so smart. And I think he said, nobody knows what we're doing. And I said, oh, that sounds so astute.
As opposed to this country where everybody thinks they know exactly what the right answer is, whether or not they have any information.
That's for sure.
Okay.
That's for
sure.
So
because we were talking about the royal baby, and this is real, they seem to have just released the name of the baby at this moment, I guess because they heard us talking about it. And the name is, and this is real, this just came across my iPad.
They're naming him
here.
North, right? Isn't that
North?
No,
After
that was
Oliver.
taken. All right. Okay. What is it? What it's going to be?
Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor.
Archie, not Jughead. They just went. What's wrong with Jughead is catchier. Archie. I love how they're clinging to that Mountbatten thing. That's Prince Philip's name.
Archie and Mountbatten Windsor don't really go together that well.
No, they don't. And Mountbatten, honestly is not. It's a made-up name because it was originally a whole different kind of German deal. So I wonder why they changed that.
I'm gonna have to
Google it.
Look again and see if it wasn't Arthur, but I think it's Archie.
Archie. Okay.
So with this new reporting in the Times today, they got 10 years of Trump tax returns and saw that he lost $1 billion over that decade. The Borowitz report reveals he may be stepping away from his businesses. What's the scoop?
Well, he spent many years bankrupting his various businesses, and he wants to devote all of his energies now to just bankrupting the country. That's what he feels like. He needs to put America first. But I was really stunned by that news about the $1 billion because just to put that in some perspective, well, how much money that is. Just you see a number like that and it says, what does that mean? $1 billion is enough to silence 8,000 porn stars, just to give you an idea what that money could have been put to use for. So that's a pretty staggering loss, it seems to me, when you really consider it.
And Trump usually sees no conflict between his business and his government work.
He's great at both of them. He's so amazing.
He could bankrupt both at the same time.
Yeah, both at the same multitask.
You wrote on the
Borowitz report. A long time ago, though, Brian.
By the way, I am confirming that it is Archie. Somebody raised in my ear, are you sure it isn't Arthur? No, it's Archie. Multiple news sites are reporting Archie.
It's Archie. Okay.
Harrison, Mountbatten, Windsor. What's his nickname going to be?
Arch, right? Arch. I'm going to call him Arch, I think.
An Arch?
Maybe Prince.
An Arch something.
Prince would be good. They both sound like dog names, oddly enough. So does Rex, for that matter.
I'm glad to see the Justice Department is getting serious about something, though. The Borowitz report has the latest on the Hillary Clinton-Abraham Lincoln investigation.
Oh, my God. Yes. Yes, Fox really sort of stirred this up again. There's new evidence that Hillary Clinton killed Abraham Lincoln. It's time to move on from the whole Mueller thing and really get back to Hillary, because Hillary, God knows, she's really gotten away with so much over the years. Murders, all this stuff, and really killing the president. President Lincoln was a terrible thing with her time travel machine.
And you reported that Hillary is falling back on some kind of flimsy chronological argument.
Yeah, as always. The Clintons have a way of arguing their way out of anything, and I think she'll do that. Brian, as you're going through these, you're just sort of putting a big X as you do one of these Borowitz reports.
So I don't.
I feel it hurts. It's hurtful. I thought you were going to take them home. And enjoy them all over again. And sure, he's just like, X, we did that one. All right. What's this one? I guess we got to do this one now.
I could put smiley faces, but
yes,
either way.
True.
So I
you
don't
might
ask
be doing
you the
checks, actually.
Same question twice.
Exactly.
But we in the media do have to take responsibility for our biases. And I see that the Borowitz report tells us that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is leveling a new accusation at basically the whole news media.
Yes. Well, after she did this thing, I guess she was under oath. And putting Sarah Huckabee Sanders under oath is just sort of a nightmarish task for her, I'm sure, and for everybody involved. But she was under oath, and they asked her, I guess, about her comment that all these FBI agents hated James Comey and thought he was doing a terrible job. And they asked her to sort of give some factual basis for that. And she said, well, actually, that was not based on any fact. So that was her explanation. There was no factual basis behind this thing that she said from the podium at the White House. And April Ryan, a journalist at CNN, said that she should resign because of telling that lie. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders came out in a very strongly worded statement saying that the media was showing a very blatant anti-liar bias. That lying is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice she's made. And it really shouldn't be up to the media to say, no, you can't live your life that way. You should be free to love whatever lies you love. And that's her feeling.
Please thank Andy Borowitz.
And thank you, Brian Lehrer.
Report. Quick note about something else coming up here at the Green Space. The New Yorker writer Hilton Als is artist in residence in the Green Space this spring, and this Tuesday, May 14th, he'll be speaking with poet Shane McRae and composer Michael R. Jackson about how art reflects contemporary life. Tickets for The Way We Live Now, Hilton Als and America's Poets are at wnyc.org/thegreenspace. Audience, thank you so much for coming out on a Wednesday morning to the Green Space. And everybody, thanks for listening.